This week on the show, you are going to be inspired. I don't care who you are. You listen to this, you're going to be inspired. It's a little bit longer than usual, but that's because we have an unbelievable guest. My man, Mr. J50, Jock McKissic. Check it out. Hey, what's happening, everybody? I am Matt Pruitt. This is Everyday People doing everyday shit on whatever podcast app you enjoy, as well as streaming live on YouTube. As usual, sitting here with the one and only Queen Pruitt, known as Phoebe Pruitt, sitting right over there. How you be there?
I'm swell. How are you?
Unbelievable as always. Been a bit of a whirlwind type morning for me. I can't speak so much for you, but I feel like I've been running behind a little bit today. Right now it is 3:13 our time here in the Pacific, and slowly but surely catching up. But other
You've
than that,
been feeling behind, but you haven't been. So.
Really? So
yeah,
I haven't
earlier
been?
you thought it was like 1 something and it was only 12 something.
So I just been feeling it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Today I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody watching the show live.
Hey y'all. Hey.
Thank y'all for being here,
everybody.
streaming live on YouTube. And if you're watching live on YouTube, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up and like, share, subscribe button, all that magical stuff. So YouTube will continue to show us some love and all of that algorithmic stuff. But go ahead and just get this out the way. This show, we just sit here and talk about regular everyday stuff that goes on in our day-to-day lives because it's quite relatable. You know, I'm not going to sit here and talk about some shit that I don't know anything about in the world of Hollywood, in the world of tech or what have you. I like to have regular everyday conversations. But today's going to be a little bit longer show because we have a guest. The guest on this show today, best way I can describe him is, I know y'all say that I'm the large, beautiful black man, beautiful brown man. We've joked about that on the show a time or three. Well, today's guest is probably the second.
The real one.
He ain't the real. No, damn that. No, damn that. Today's guest.
Definitely big and brown and beautiful.
Today's guest is probably the second coming of the beautiful brown black man. Let me read a little bit about said person. Born in Opelika, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, Alabama. Mother, Cynthia Smith, big time football player, but also a big time actor. Mm-hmm. Some of y'all may know him as J50. I know him as Jock, but he's also known as Jocquez.
Oh,
Jocquez.
Is that what it reads on the credits?
That's another little tidbit that I found, and then I also later heard it in his book. Folks, please allow me to welcome to the screen here, Everyday People podcast, my man, Mr. Jock McKissic. How you doing, brother?
I'm blessed, man. How y'all doing?
We are unbelievable and glad to have you here. Folks, this man, best way I could put it, I'm a Clemson nut. Y'all know that already.
Nah.
So years ago, it's probably been over 10 years now, Phoebe. It's probably been over 10 years now. Mm-hmm. Been able to form a friendship with different players over the years and different fans, Clemson fans over the years. And somehow in a way, I ended up in that circle with Jock and watched him play ball as a fan and watching him go beyond playing ball and being at Clemson and furthering his career life after football. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's been pretty surreal just watching
to
that
watch
shit,
it, yeah.
You know, but this dude, very, very inspirational. He has a book out now.
Oh.
And wrote a book.
They don't have any.
We can't hear anything. Oh no, y'all can't hear us in YouTube. YouTube did it again.
No audio from the guests, at least.
Oh
first.
no.
Waiting to see if I hear anything. Anyone else hear them? Nope.
See,
nope, not yet.
YouTube has done it again. Why? So, Jock, I'm gonna
let's
pause.
Let's figure it out. We're gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna pause here because YouTube did this last week. All right, coming back. Sorry for the YouTube glitch. I'll of course edit all of that stuff out. But so Jock McKissic here. If I hit this button here on the screen, Jock McKissic, former ball player, Clemson University. Also played a little bit of pro ball, but now a freaking full-time actor. Bro, so again, I mentioned that you have your book out. And your book, I'm almost finished with it. I'm on, was it Principle 48 right now? So I almost finished it. I almost finished it before I got you on these mics. But I'm going through the book and I'm like, man, this guy... Either I've been following him and his family around, or he's been following me and my family around, because there's a lot of similarities in how you came up in life. And it's got nothing to do with sports. It's just a lot of the principles and morals and your moral compass and your standards in life, if you will. And I really, really appreciate it. And I'm hoping more and more people are getting a hold of your story. So give us a little bit of the background on you, Jock the person, coming straight out of small town Alabama, before football, before hitting the big screen. What can you share about Jock?
So what Ant now knows, because he's read the book and he knows from following me, and this friendship that we built kind of over the past 15 years or so.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Started on Twitter.
Yep.
I refuse to call it the other name. That's another topic for a different time. What he knows is that, I am from Opelika, Alabama. You said that correct.
Okay, great.
And I grew up with a single mom. I had a stepfather there for a few years present. Didn't grow up with my biological father. Grew up with an older brother in the house with me who was 6 years older. I had a host of cousins, have a really large family. And a lot of the time wasn't spent in Opelika, which is a small city. It was spent in the country. At my grandmother and my great-grandmother's house in Salem, Alabama, which is very rural, a lot of farmland. And my family has, in total, about 400 acres of land. And each branch of the family had, different things that they would do. I had one uncle that had the horses. My great-grandmother and my grandmother had the cows and the chickens. Another cousin had pigs. One of my aunts had.
So again, I'm telling y'all, I swear it sounds so familiar.
So yeah, we had everything. We had the crops, etc. And growing up there was, I would say, the thing that created my work ethic, because at age 5 or 6, I was out with my older brother and cousins, like feeding the cattle and like the chickens.
Wow.
Yeah, going to collect the
Now
eggs.
that's country. That's the real deal country.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend the other day who grew up like kind of in a rural area. And, about 10 minutes from his house, they would be driving and sometimes they would see cattle, like cows that got out. And they would call. He says he remembers like calling his neighbor. And I was like, yeah, well, when cattle got out in my world, it was usually my grandmother's cattle. And we were the ones that had to go, get them together and run them back to the opening in the fence again.
Wow.
We had to have like a hole digger with us and a shovel with us, and we had to fix the fence, crowbar. So like, yeah, that wasn't a fun memory for me, you know.
So it wasn't like the cool look on like Yellowstone when they had the nice horses to ride beside them to get them in the fence. It wasn't that pretty like that.
Nah, we weren't using no horses at that time. My era for the cows. Now, when my great grandmother and my grandmother was young, they would use the horses and the mules to like wrangle the cows up. But for some reason, they lost that along the way when I was a child, and it turned into us running on our feet.
Yeah. They can do it. They can do it. They need to run.
Forget that.
Yeah. So it created that work ethic in me that transitioned seamlessly into like being a hardworking athlete.
That's what's up.
So, you know, once I, you know, got to the high school level, I would say even the middle school level, I started to focus a lot more on sports. And because I played basketball, football, and track in high school, I got out of a lot of the summertime farm work and weekend farm work that I was once doing because
But you was damn sure prepared. I know that.
Yeah. But you know, because you know, I wasn't just out there on the bench or something. I was actually that guy. So they were like, "Oh yeah, you don't have to go to grandma's house."
Dude.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I grew up, man. You know, sports to me was, I wouldn't say they were easy as far as like conditioning and hard work, but they were manageable because I worked so hard at a young age.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, so that's my foundation of, you know, who Jock McKissic is for sure.
Excellent. And another thing though, with the football background, I don't think people realize just how big you are, bro. This dude is like he's like you're like 6'7", 6'8", right?
6'7", yeah.
Okay, 6'7", over 300 pounds. This is a mountain of a man. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first time finally being able to meet him in person. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what game it was, but this was post game. You know, we all go down to the field at the end of the game. That's just that's a Clemson thing to do. Mm-hmm. And he was there in town visiting, and some kind of way he saw me and I saw his big ass up in the stands. It's just giant of a freaking human being, but one of the kindest, most philanthropic dudes out there on the face of the earth, man.
Yeah.
So getting into some of the stuff that you talk about in your book, and your book is called
50 Principles to Thrive in Life.
50 Principles to Thrive in Life. It's available now where you can get all fine books. I have the audiobook version because I'm a slow reader. But fun fact, you mentioned being a slow reader yourself. Absolutely. Within that book, and I definitely appreciate that. I'm going to pause for a second because we got some super chats that just come in here. Hold up, some super chats from the folks watching live on YouTube. Cinder Fractal sends a $5 donation. Says, "Way to go, Jock!" Thank you so much for that super chat, Miss Cinder Fractal.
Oh man,
thank you so much.
Our live chat is just going nuts here.
Yeah, they are.
Thank y'all. I'm sorry I haven't been able to keep up with it. I see Michael O'Donnell's in here, Cinder Fractal, Iggy's in here, Ozone Nightmare's in here. Holy cow! Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in here and taking a listen to this conversation. But yeah, just thinking about your time as a football player is one thing. And you talked about a lot of the principles in that sort of that you got from your upbringing. But then there's some other stuff in football that later translated into your current career. You gave a lot of credit to Coach Dabo Sweeney and Coach Jeff, not Coach Jeff Davis, but the judge, Jeff Davis. Talk about some of the influences that they passed on to you and how it helped translate into deciding to really dive into the career of being an actor full time?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, listen. People ask me all the time about, the former that you mentioned, of course, the great coach Dabo Swinney. And you're like, hey, did you play for Dabo? And I'm like, yeah, he actually recruited me. And, my first 3.5 years, he was
an assistant, coach. Right? Because you were there with Coach Bowden too.
Correct. And so I got a chance to know him from day one. My introduction to Clemson was through Dabo Swinney.
Mine too.
Yeah. So,
seriously, it was.
Yep.
Yeah. And, when he came into my house from day one, I never felt that there was any lack of being authentic with him. He kept it real with me. He told me the things I needed to do. He told me the areas I struggled in. He told me what to expect when I came to Clemson, and everything that he said when I took my visit and, further along my career was true.
Yep.
He never misled me in any way. And the biggest thing that I love about him is he is who he is 100% of the time. Like I never had
no doubts.
Never had to guess who he was. He stands for bringing it, and you've seen it. I got a chance to see it more from the hands-on recruiter side because he recruited me. But he stands for bringing in these young men who are 17, 18 years old and help making them and mold them into men, who will be productive citizens, great husbands, great fathers. Like he prides himself in that. And football is just, the tool to make that happen because you're good at that thing. And that's what he, his professional, job is. But his goal is just so much more personal than football. And, over the years, he's been able to create or allow the judge, Jeff Davis, to create Paw Journey, which is a program within Clemson. I don't know if you ever talked about this on here, Ant, but
no, I haven't.
Yeah,
but Paw Journey is freaking awesome, though.
Yeah, for all the listeners, man, just go Google Paw Journey or go look it up on Instagram, man. And
I'll put some links in our show notes.
Yeah, sure. It'll let you know like how serious Coach Swinney is about creating great, productive citizens, husbands, fathers, brothers, sons, etc.
From all walks of life.
And basically, Paw Journey, from day one, they bring in the players, and outside of football, they teach them and help mold them into well-rounded men as far as like etiquette, as far as interview skills, as far as just information about different careers. Twice a year, they have programs where they bring in former players that are now doing other things. And we have a panel and we teach them about what we do. And from there, we give them our contacts and we become mentors to them to like coach them along the way. I have probably 10 guys that I've mentored throughout the past 10 years. The first person
that's a lot. That's a ton, bro.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like because the thing is, as a football player, what Jeff Davis told me is when I was at Clemson, hey, don't get hung up in being Jock McKissic, the football player, because that's just what you do. It's not who you are. So so he's done a beautiful job at like implementing Paw Journey into these guys' lives and bringing in myself and guys like Elsmore Gabriel, who's in the event space, bringing in guys who are in real estate, bringing in guys who are in IT, engineering, pharmaceutical sales, guys that like Darius, are in the podcast space, and just different things, different walks of life that as a young football player, you don't even really know exist or you're not focused on it. But once you're exposed to it, it opens up that door. And, the unique aspect of what I've done now as being an actor for the past, it'll be 14 years in November.
Wow.
That's an element that a lot of people don't think they could do, because how many people know actors, that are born and are raised in the South. So
right.
When they're exposed to Jock McKissic and the guys that are at Clemson now and have been at Clemson for the past, 13, 14 years, they know Jock, they know J50, who is an actor.
Yep.
And they turn on their TV and they're like, oh, that's J50. And they reach out. And so it's a reality to them. It's not like, oh, that's something that I wish I could do. It's like, no,
this is real talk.
This is real. Mm-hmm. J50 came and talked to the team. And then also the aspect of them not being doom and gloom about life after football. Because they see the success of their former Tigers in the world.
Yeah.
Life after football.
That's good.
I tell people all the time, I think the transition from being a college athlete or a professional athlete to life after sports is the second hardest transition, I believe, behind the military. So transferring from being in the military or playing sports to now I got to figure out the next part of my life mentally is so difficult to do. And for me, Paw Journey wasn't around when I was at Clemson, but I had a very close relationship with Jeff Davis. Mm-hmm. And going into his office and having these conversations with him and allowing him to pour into me and like wake up that curious young man and that young man who was so much more than a football player helped me transition well. Helped me with being in the community in Clemson. Like one of the most things that I'm proud of, like my time at Clemson was 2 years, my sophomore, my junior year, I won the NCAA award for athlete with the most community service hours in the country.
Word.
See, ain't
That's
that crazy?
What's up.
Ain't that crazy?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Do y'all know how many schools are in this dadgum country?
There are a lot of schools.
And this dude is winning it all?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
Unbelievable.
I pride myself on giving the credit to the great Judge Davis for waking that part of me up of like being a part of the community and building relationships and giving back and being able to see what he did in the community at such a large scale. I followed suit and I partnered with this lady named Kathy Coughlin, who is still in South Carolina, and she helped me to build relationships with foster care, foster homes, and different schools. So I would go and read to the children at school. I would go to the foster homes and just spend time with the children. And you read this in the book, Aunt.
Mm-hmm.
I would take them to McDonald's and just show them that they weren't, forgotten about. So, when you talk about Coach Dabo Swinney and the great Jeff Davis, they both had a huge part in who Jock McKissic is.
That's what's up.
That's what's up, dude. I want to take one more pause here as we got some more super chats to show up. Let's see here. I saw one from Iggy. She says, awesome on the book. Thank you, Iggy, for your $5 super chat donation.
Thank you.
And some continued commentary. Cinder Fractal asks, does Jock sing? Awesome voice, says Cinder Fractal.
Oh, yeah. There's totally loving on you right now.
Iggy is like, lots of bass in this voice. Smooth, she says.
Yeah.
They are on some Jock McKissic.
They probably telling their friends, get on here. Listen to this voice. Listen to this voice. That's the real one.
Man. And then Ozone Nightmare has a $10 super chat. He says, hi there, Pruitt. Happy Wednesday. Thrilled to hear Jock's story. Curious as another beautiful black man. Has he had a lot of, quote, special attention at the supermarket? That is an inside joke, Jock, just so you know. Because, yeah, the running joke here is the local grocery store here in the neighborhood, they seem to love me when I go up in there. and even has given Phoebe a little bit of grief about it too when she
they
goes
just
up
curious. That's it. They don't see them. They don't see black men. Yeah. So they see one, and it just so happens that he's a looker.
Yeah. So it's just one of them cream of the crop.
That's all it
too,
is. They don't see him, so they're just so curious. They're like, "Oh my God, is that what they really look like?"
So not right.
Yeah, I would agree. I get a lot of attention in the supermarket.
See, they probably want to feed you. Here goes some free chicken.
This
is good. You want to try some of these strips? They just came out. Y'all don't do that shit for me when I'm standing over here. Don't nobody want to offer me some chicken.
Well,
then they don't even want to give me what I ordered. Like, you gave it to him. Why you can't give it to me? Forget about it.
You're not a big black man. It's okay.
That's exactly what it is.
It's fine. We got you. And John Helm showed up late in the house. Good to see you, John Helm. He put in a $5 super chat too. Thank you, brother. Thank y'all for being
John
here.
Helm?
John Helm. John Helm.
I know a John Helm. Where's John Helm from?
John Helm is up in Charlotte. You know John Helm?
Might be a different John Helm. John Helm. Do you know me, John Helm, personally? Or is it the same John Helm?
I don't know. Maybe not. He's about my age. He's about my age, so. Maybe
the John Helm I know is,
That's what's up. So, folks, this is everyday people doing everyday shit on whatever podcast app you use. My screen just froze for a second. Whoops, that's on me. Sorry about that. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for all the love and all the super chats. We're going to pause for a quick commercial break for a few seconds. So y'all stay right there. We'll be right back after this. And we're back. Everyday people doing everyday shit. I'm Aunt Pruitt on the mic. She's Queen Pruitt. Phoebe Pruitt sitting over there on that mic. And we got a guest in the house, Jock McKissic, joining us live here on the show. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for hanging out live on YouTube as well. Hanging out with Jock, learning a little bit more about him, as well as learning more about his book, The 50 Principles. 50 Principles? Wait a minute. I just totally forgot.
People saying, I'm definitely going to get this book. Going to buy this book for sure, said Cinder Fractal.
It's such a good one, man. It's such a good one.
Yeah, I poured my life into this book. So I'm a huge advocate of only promoting things that I really believe in, right? So I made sure that this book was going to be well worth, first of all, my time of actually putting it together, and then more importantly, worth the time of the readers, and I think it's one of those books where no matter where you are in your life, if you're 11 or you are 71, you can take something from this book. Mm-hmm. And, since the book has been out, it's only been out since February, but since it's been out, I've literally found that to be true. The great Chancey Stuckey, who you would know.
Oh, yes, I know Chancey Stuckey.
Who is a Clemson legend receiver who played several years in the NFL, who's still a great friend of mine because at Clemson, you're still friends with all of your former teammates.
Of course. And
I recently met him and his family when he came to LA. His wife is from here.
Oh, okay.
And his son, who is only 9 years old, Aiden, has been reading my book.
Oh,
dude.
And he started to write a book himself.
What?
Yes. Physically write the book by hand.
Man, come on now.
And when he met me, he said, I've been reading a book and I wrote my own book. And I wanted to ask you about publishing. I said, you don't worry, young man. I'm going to connect you with my publisher and we're going to figure out how to publish this book. Because
again,
at the root,
that's more
of it all,
back.
that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about for me, is pouring into, others, not just the youth, but more specifically the youth. And I've had a friend of mine, his mother, who is probably 85, has read the book 4 times.
Jeez.
And she says, when I talk to her and ask her, like, what is it about it? She said, it's just something about it keeps me going. And I'm like,
that's the thing. It's very inspirational and, again, very relatable. Phoebe, you got a question there. I see you got your hand up.
You got a question.
You got to say, I've been doing really good, right?
Yeah, because normally she's Jock. Normally she cuts me off and butts in. I can't even get 2 words out. So yeah, just that ADD gets going. So a credit to you, Queen Pruitt.
Yes.
Go ahead with your question.
Okay,
dear.
so did you always know that this is something that you wanted to do, was working with the community and the children, and give back in that way? Did you always know that this is something that you wanted to do, or is it something that came along after Dabo and the crew?
So that's a great question, Phoebe. I subconsciously did it even when I was in high school. I would give back to the younger children and do certain things, but it wasn't something that I would do, for lack of better words, religiously. The great Judge Davis and Coach Dabo, Swinney, and even Coach Rump, who was my position coach, they had a great deal. They played a great deal in me making that a lifestyle, because I seen these men who had so much going on and they still found time to give back to the community. Personally to us, as our team, and then even outside of us. And I couldn't understand, like, how can they find the time? Right. But they made time. And I told myself that, as a college athlete, waking up at 5, you're going to train, you're going to classes, you're going to practice at 2. You finish in practice at 5, 6, maybe. You're showering, you're eating, you get home at 7:38. When I wasn't at practice, I was going to find a way to give back. And that's just been a part of my life. No matter where I am, I have to find a way to give back, whether it's to different groups. Like, I work with this group who goes into prisons and does different events with, like, the prisoners, trying to help them, reacclimate to different activities that you would do on the outside. I work with a nonprofit here called Athletes for Life, and Athletes for Life sends different coaches into every elementary school in Compton, California, which, most people know Compton, California is a very high crime area. And they've kind of lost their way when it comes to, like, really pouring into sports, because unfortunately along the way somewhere just somebody gave up on them. And so now Athletes Life, we go into these elementary schools and we teach them sports and, like, coach them and mentor them. And so, just never really make an excuse not to give back, because I, for one, think the purpose of life, the sole purpose of life, at the very bare minimum of the bones of what that means, is we're here to, give back, love on, support one another, and also love on and honor God along the way as well. So I make it my business. So yeah, that was a great question.
I appreciate that. I got so many more, but I'll just leave it at that one for now.
We'll come back to your question momentarily. I don't forget. But you, it'll come back. But you.
Hey, listen, I cleared my schedule. So,
thank you.
I'm here.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you giving back to us too.
Now, see, she asked you. You were talking about having the time to do all of that, and in your book, you mentioned an approach that I know I've practiced myself, and you talk about, okay, there's 24 hours in a day, but what are you doing with those 8? You care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, man. I think one of the things that helped me growing up and even as an adult is to break things down very literal and physically write them out. Or you don't have to, everybody doesn't have to write them out, but just physically spend time with how you plan your day. And in that chapter, you're talking about is structure your day. So we have 24 hours. Everybody has the same 24 hours. And unfortunately, we don't all spend them the same.
Nope.
So I found out somewhere along the way when I, got done with college and I started to find my own way, and I was responsible for getting myself up, going out to make money, fund my own career. I found out along the way that those 24 hours are very precious. And once you spend one of those days wasting away time, you don't get it back, unfortunately. So I started to structure my day, and I would sleep for 7 hours. I didn't even sleep for 8. And then you get up.
Sounds familiar.
You get up. I get up, and this is something that I implemented later. I've probably been doing this for the past maybe 5 years. I wake up at 4:30 or 5, depending on what I did the night before. No later than 5. When I wake up, the first thing I do is I pray. Then I meditate, and then I work out. Right? So all that takes place within an hour and a half.
Wow.
So I started.
What was that, Phoebe?
Wow.
So I started doing that because as someone whose schedule is sporadic and spontaneous in the entertainment industry, you can't really control what your day may be sometimes. So those things I control. If I wake up before the world is even awake, I can do as I please, right? So I do those things, and by the time I'm done, it's 6:15-ish. I shower, I start my day. Every day looks different. So I dedicate 8 hours to building my craft, making money, or helping somebody else build theirs, because I've gotten to a point where sometimes I have that luxury.
Yeah.
So within those 8 hours, and I did 8 hours because I felt like, okay, even if I'm not working a traditional job all the time, I feel like if I dedicate 8 hours to building myself, making money, etc., then it'll be easier for me to like relay this message to people, because that's what most people are doing. So after those 8 hours are done, you got another 8. So for me, I got another 9.
Right.
So
because you didn't sleep the full 8.
I didn't sleep the full 8. So it's like, what am I gonna do with that 8 hours, right? And you got to be real adamant about implementing whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're on a fitness journey, that's the most important thing you're trying to do, then you got to spend some more time, maybe getting a second workout in. If you're building a business, you got to spend your time on that, doing your research, physically doing the work. If you're building an acting career, you got to go to the movies. You got to watch interviews. You got to go to class. So it's like, you got to be real particular about how you spend those other 8. And I know there's other parameters that come to play, like traffic. Some of us are in traffic for 2 hours. So now you have 6 hours, right? Some of us have children. You get home, you have to put them first.
You got to tend to them. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be a parent first. So you have to cook dinner. You got to help them with their homework. You got to talk to them to see what's going on in life with them. So now you've got 3.5 hours. Okay. And what are you going to do with those 3.5? Some people are like, well, I don't even get that. I only get an hour. You can do so much in an hour. Like, there's so much you can do in an hour if you just put it on your schedule to say, okay.
Bro, I laugh when people be like, I only got an hour to eat. And I'm like, it takes you an hour to put food in your mouth?
It takes you
No, it doesn't.
Minutes.
The shower, I mean, I don't even, taking a shower takes an hour.
No, it does not, baby.
No. I got a lot of work to do, Jock. You coming in here with all of this knowledge, and it is really going up against everything that I've been doing, and I gotta really fix it.
You know why? You know why, Miss Phoebe?
Oh my God.
You know why? There's nothing, and this is what I tell people. I don't think we should condemn ourselves for what we've been doing, right? I think it's just a matter of altering what we've been doing and trying something different to see what results we get.
Yeah.
So if I can stand in the shower for an hour too. I can get in there, just stay in there. I can lather about 3 or 4 times. I can shave my head. I can wash and condition my beard. I could do that, but
you don't have to.
I don't choose to. 10 minutes tops. I'm out.
Baby, I done told you. Give me 2 minutes in the shower. I'm good.
Yeah, I've seen it. And I think, it's unfortunate that I was not able to be an athlete, because I hear so many wonderful things come with being an athlete and being structured and everything. Maybe that's why I didn't make it as a flight attendant too.
Because they definitely got a schedule and they got.
I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better though. Yeah, it's gonna get better.
I mean, you married to someone who does it well, and now you have a son who does it well. So you just gotta like implement a little bit at a time what they're doing. Like, oh well, let me try that for me. Let me see how that works. And everything they do might not work for you.
That's the thing. It's not a fix-all for everybody.
No.
It's not a suggestions,
But it sounds so good.
It is.
It sounds like it's really good, and it would make you feel so much better each day if you did it.
I promise you, if you take, and I tell this, don't take the hour and a half that I take, right? Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, I want you to do this, and I want Aunt to hold you accountable.
Okay, I'll do it.
Word.
What time do you normally wake up? No judgment. It could be 10 o'clock. We
just had this conversation about sleeping because we're not retired and we need jobs. We need to get our asses up. So, I mean, with the play that I've been doing, and there's no excuses. I just go ahead and answer the question.
Just answer the question.
8:30
ish. And that's generous, bro. That's generous.
Not bad.
I used to get up early. I used to be an early riser.
Yeah, I know you used to.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I can do it. Yeah.
What time are you going to sleep?
And that's another thing. I used to go to bed early, but I've been staying up late. So it's all a choice.
Yeah. So that's the thing. If you're up late, getting up at 8:30 isn't bad because you still have the same amount of hours to be active.
Right.
I just go to sleep by 9:30.
And I used to.
So this is what I want to challenge you to do. Okay. Right? So if you normally get up at 8:30, you normally go to bed at 12. Tonight, I want you to go to bed at 11.
Consider that done.
I could do it.
And you're going to do it because Aunt going to be on your ass about it.
That's right.
But no earlier than that. Just at 11.
No earlier. No.
At 11.
You don't got to do Jock. Just go to bed at 11. Okay. By 11. If the worst case scenario, you're in the bed under the covers by 10:55.
That means you got to work at it to be.
You got to be under the covers by 10:55.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. I want you to wake up at 7:30 tomorrow.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Good start.
Set your alarm. I want you to just get up. I want you to set your alarm at 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt gonna already be up. I already know.
Yep.
So when you hear her alarm go off, Aunt, just give her space. This is what I want you to do when you wake up.
Oh boy, give her space. Yeah. Easy, bro.
give her space, okay? Let's not be all up under her. All right.
Easy.
So at 7:30, when the alarm goes off, I want you to turn the alarm off. Open your eyes to turn the alarm off. Sit up in your bed and close your eyes.
Okay.
All right.
Ooh. I know where this is going.
I want you to pray for however long it takes you to pray. It can be 30 seconds. It can be 8 minutes.
Okay.
I want you to pray.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after you pray, I want you to go back to your phone. I want you to, and I'll send Aunt a good one to use. I want you to have this at the top of your messages. You can text it to yourself.
Okay.
I got a 5-minute guided meditation.
Okay.
You click that. You click play. You put your phone down. We're not doing anything else on our phone besides turning off the alarm, click and play on the guided meditation. Okay?
Yeah.
You click play. You click play on the guided meditation. You're still sitting up in the bed. You sit back in the bed and you close your eyes and you listen to the guided meditation and you follow instructions. All right? When you're done with that guided meditation, I want you to get out of bed. I want you to go straight to the restroom. I want you to brush your teeth, wash your face. And then I want you to take 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, to do some type of physical exercise. Whether it's
what's that face you're making?
No, I'm just listening.
Listen. 5 minutes. Whether it's standing squats with no weight.
Okay.
It can be a standing squats. You can stretch for 2 minutes. Okay. You can do crunches for a minute. You can do standing squats for the other 2 minutes. Do that, right? Then whatever else you do for the rest of your day is your business. But I want you to do those things for me tomorrow morning. And then I want you to see how it changes your day.
I already know it's going to change it without the phone.
I love it because that's the key, Jock. We have had some talks here in this here house on morning routines and so forth. And I'm not picking on you, dear.
I know you're not.
I'm not picking on you.
It's the truth.
But I've spoken to you about just how long you spend in the bathroom in the mornings, you know, and you said what takes so long? It's the phone.
It's the phone.
You know, and
it's
just
the phone.
Eliminating that right there.
Eliminate that. You notice I said you're only doing 2 things on the phone.
That's right.
The alarm clock and the meditation. Turn off the
alarm, which you don't even have to open your phone to turn off the alarm.
Correct.
When you turn off that alarm, you immediately sit up in the bed, close your eyes, and pray. When you're done, open your phone, go to a text that you're going to text yourself. Click that link, click play on the YouTube, guided meditation, get out of the bed. Don't do your normal morning routine in the bathroom.
I won't.
Wash your face, brush your teeth so you ain't killing yourself while you're stretching. Stretch for 2 minutes.
I just got that.
I did. I got
it. Stretch for 2. I mean, we don't want you in that. Listen to this. Stretch for 2 minutes. do a minute of crunches. Mm-hmm. Do 2 minutes of standing squats, no weight.
Okay.
And then you do what you want. You can go back in the bathroom for an hour. I don't care what you do after that. But you're gonna see the difference of time. What that little bit does to your day. Wow. And the reason why a lot of people don't structure their mornings like that, because we have a tendency to look at things as a whole, or we have a tendency to look at what other people do. Like Mark Wahlberg wakes up at 4 o'clock every day and goes to work out for 2 hours and, runs 6 miles. And and it's like, oh, I want to do that, but I can't do all that. Well, don't do all that.
No, that's the thing. We get into this whole comparison thing.
True.
It's not always reasonable to do that stuff.
No. You do what is sustainable for and obtainable for you. True. And you have to start small, right? Start with that 5-minute guided meditation, that 5-minute workout. And I want you to consistently try. Tomorrow, I want you to do it, and I want to make sure you do it.
You got it. You got it. I will follow up on said task.
And then, listen, you just take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
We don't have to look at it as I got to do this for the rest of my life. No, I got to do this. I have to do this tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then I have to do this tomorrow.
But it's all, I know once I do it tomorrow, like I'm going to want to continue to do it because I'm going to see all the time that I save. So it's just starting it and then keeping it going.
Not only the time that you save, that's a big part of it, but the biggest part of it is mentally and physically what it's going to do for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like spiritually and emotionally, you're going to be in such a better place because that's the first thing you do when you wake up. Like, people don't understand how in tune and grounded we are to the world. The first moment we wake up.
Yeah.
So whatever you do first is so crucial. And when you spend that first moment of opening your eyes, praying to whomever your God may be, Allah, I don't care what you call him, Jehovah, Yeshua, whoever it is, you spend that first moment talking to him when you wake up. And then that 5-minute guided meditation that I'm going to send Ant for you to do.
Okay.
And you following instructions, and it's going to put you spiritually, mentally, and physically, after you finish that workout, in such a beautiful space. You're going to be like, man, I feel like I can do so much today.
Okay.
And that's all I ask. That's all I ask.
I appreciate it. That's some advice. Like, you can't even put a price on that advice. Straight from the man.
Straight from the man.
Man, listen, I
feel
can't tell you
so special.
I can't tell you nothing that I ain't doing. Like Ant told you, I can't tell you nothing about entertainment and IT that he ain't doing. I'm the same way. I got to do it first.
Right.
So once I do it and I see the results, I'm standing on the mountaintop.
Damn right.
Because if I'm gatekeeping, then who am I helping besides myself?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I seen how it helped my life transition and how it helped me physically, mentally, and spiritually. So I can't wait for tomorrow, boy.
And I need it. I need it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm sitting here.
I appreciate it.
Our live chat is just applauding.
They just love them some you.
Dude, they love some
chat. Live chat. Listen.
Oh my God.
Like my boy Castanat say, hey, listen, chat. Hey, listen, chat. I want y'all to do this tomorrow too.
Do it.
Yes, right. Y'all do it.
I want y'all to do this tomorrow, chat. I want you to chime in. Let us know you're gonna do it. If it's not something you've been doing, I want you to do the same routine I just told Phoebe.
That's what's up.
Yup.
All right. And I can't text all y'all the link. So go in and look for 5-minute affirmation guided meditation. And there'll be some good ones that pop up. And everything else I said, I want y'all to implement it too. Now, if you're more of an Ant or Jock McKissic, you just keep doing what you're doing. But
hey, everybody it's working. It's working, So.
Yeah, everybody else, I want you to try what I told Phoebe. Chime in now. Let me know what they're saying.
I'm looking here in the chat.
Someone says Iggy says she already does.
And see, Iggy is
she probably an athlete too.
She's a project manager too. So this is how she works.
Oh, see.
You know, she's getting stuff done.
Listen, if Iggy can do it, anybody can do it. Project managers are big as Z.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I'm saying?
She's making the time to get all of that stuff done. Let's see here. There's a lot in the chat, man. Oh my gosh. Tanya Wyman says she loves it.
Let's see what they talking about.
Tanya says she loves it, and none of them were judging you as far as your wake up time, dear. Just so you know.
I know.
No one was judging you.
No,
$25 pure analog alarm clock is a good idea. Cinder Fractal says this is basically implementing incremental change, which is exactly what that is.
That's exactly what it is.
And Iggy says, yep, she's agreeing with all of this because, she already does this. This is awesome. There was a question in here from one of the listeners. Cinder Fractal says, who were some of your role models growing up besides your family?
Oh, who asked that?
Cinder Fractal. She's one of our great listeners here on the West Coast.
That's a beautiful question, man. And it's a beautiful question because most people don't add the besides your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most people don't consider your family your role models, but they very much are. So outside of my mom, my grandmother, my uncle, it was different people in the community that I saw, like giving back to the youth. One of my former mentors who passed away, his name is Mario Mitchell. He was in the community in my hometown in Opelika. Different people in church. Role models that I didn't have a personal relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
It was Shaquille O'Neal. I grew up a Shaq fan.
Shocking.
I'm serious. Wonder why.
Two giant ass, big ass black dudes.
I can relate to him. I can relate.
I was a fan since I was 4. You know, I didn't know I was gonna be big, but you know. Let's see who else. Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Jim Carrey.
Do you like the funny stuff?
Yeah, and Denzel. Like growing up, those were like, you know, Wesley Snipes too. I loved Wesley Snipes. It was always something.
Such
as a child,
range, bro.
It was always something so intriguing to me about him as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Such a broad range.
Yeah, and I would see, and I was a child watching things that I probably shouldn't have been watching.
We all were. No judgment. We all were.
Of course we were.
Like,
I wasn't supposed to see some of the stuff I saw when I saw it.
Yeah. I watched Boomerang in 1992 when it came out. And I was 6, but I remember the movie so vividly. And when people ask like, what was the most influential movie? For me, it's Boomerang, because that was the first time that I myself, and I later found out that it was the first time that most people in the world saw at a bigger scale a movie with Black successful people.
Mm-hmm.
Sure
and
enough.
There was no apologetic way of showing these Black successful people.
Mm-hmm.
And when the movie came out, you know, it got a lot of backlash because people would say, like, you know, people will find out how racist they were. Like, well, who's running the company?
Right.
Who's the CEO of the company? Or how did these people get these jobs? And, you know, so that movie, I later found out, because the movie meant so much to me once I became an actor, I started researching all the stuff that was like important to me as a child. I wanted to see, like, why was it important?
Mm-hmm.
And I did my research on Boomerang. And, you know, if you think about it, the CEO of the company was Black.
Yep.
The COO company of the Black. The head of marketing was black.
Yep.
The head of the mail room was black. They went to New Orleans. The head of that company was black.
The whole daggum enterprise.
Yeah. So
it's beautiful.
It was the first time that we had seen that as a whole, as a people. And I seen that as a 6-year-old. I'm like,
yeah.
Dang, you were 6.
I want to be like Marcus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So
and Halle Berry was there, you know.
And I fell in love with Halle Berry.
I think everybody did.
Shocking.
I've loved her since.
For real.
When I meet her, we talking about Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, those were the people that were my role models, you know. Also Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Because
just the hurdles he had, man.
Yeah, man. Moving here from Austria, not being able to speak English, learning English, being a bodybuilder, then being a movie star. And not only being a movie star, but being the biggest in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the hurdles that he had. And he was on an Oprah show the same year, funny enough, that Boomerang came out. I was 6. Oh. And I've since found that interview and listened to it as an adult. But Oprah was interviewing Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1992 on her show and asking him about his journey. And he said, you know, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
You know? And it was at that moment where I was like, oh, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So I can't leave him out because, you know.
No doubt.
Also
got a super chat come in from Ozone Nightmare for $10 donation. Thank you, brother. He says, first thing I do when I wake up is look at my wife and dog and take a minute to be thankful I have them. Also, the last thing I do before I go to sleep, that's also the last thing I do before I go to sleep. And then also aim 15 minutes outside every day, no devices. And then he says also Snipes rules in all caps.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Hey, that's amazing that he does that.
Yeah.
I think that's very important because, you know, too often we let life, you know, take control of us and we don't take control of life. And we start to like take things for granted. So the fact that he starts his day, and it's a he, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He starts his day and ends his day with gratitude.
Yeah.
All right.
Like that's the
just
biggest
thing. Strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. We're going to pause one more quick time here for a commercial break. And I see something in the chat that I want to bring up from Cinder Fractal that I want to bring up to you, Jock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But y'all stay right there. This is Everyday People doing everyday shit on all the podcast platforms. We'll be right back after this. And we're back. Everyday People doing everyday shit on whatever podcast app you enjoy. Hey, folks, have you heard of Patreon and our extended family? Feel free to join our extended family of Patreon members for free if you want. That's my social network of choice, quite frankly. Yes, I post to those other platforms, but my interaction day to day is with our extended family and Patreon. You can join for free again, or you can join one of the paid tiers. Just go to patreon.com/Aunt Pruitt right now and hop on into the community. You hear about some of my busy morning as of today. I mean, so busy to where I was here 2 minutes before my time scheduled to be on this mic with Jock because I was busy doing some other stuff. You know, it's been one of those days. But yeah, we appreciate all the support. Feel free to hop on in there and join the conversation all day long, all night long, random stuff with all of our wonderful members, including some that are right here in the live stream. That's patreon.com/Aunt Pruitt. And hanging out with Jock McKissic here. Wonderful freaking human being. That's the best way I can describe it.
Thank you, bro.
Before we went to break, there was a message that popped into the live chat here from Cinder Fractal.
Can I say something before we go to the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm probably going to forget it, but I want to say this, right?
Okay.
The fact that y'all have this platform, number one, is beautiful because you're doing what a lot of people aren't doing. You're talking about everyday things that everybody can relate to. Right?
Oh, damn it, man. We cried last week. I ain't trying to be crying today.
No. I'm for real. I'm for real. And second, the fact that, your supporters are tuned in live and they're donating money as we go. I appreciate them being here for me. That's cool. But the fact that they're here and y'all know them by name, like that means they're here recurring.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. This is for the chat. I think it's so important that we spend our money on the things that we find to be impactful to us. And within life, we have so many things that we're doing every day, constantly here and there, and life happens. And as the children say, life be life.
Life be life.
The children ain't the only ones that say that, honey.
Yeah, so sometimes you just have to find that thing, whatever it is, that's your outlet. And if you can find that thing that's your outlet that also pours into you, like everyday people, I think it's beautiful. So I salute y'all and I salute the chat.
Damn it, man. Jeez.
Thank you,
bro. Appreciate that.
That's
man.
really nice.
Jeez. Okay, pull it together. And the chat message here came from Cinder Fractal. First, she says, "Thank you, Jock. Fascinating." And she says, "So many people has the misconception of dumb athletes. Completely wrong." And when I read that, it made me think about another passage in your book. And I'm not going to give the whole book away on this show.
No, give it to them because they still, you can't give them all of it. Give it to them. Go ahead.
I'm going to give them a little taste. But that reminded me of a story in there where you had lunch with somebody in high school that you normally that you wouldn't have had lunch with any other day. This was a different type of day. But this particular day, you decided to have lunch with this one person. You care to share that story, brother?
Yeah. So I have a principle in my book that's called "Have Lunch with the Loner," and that stemmed from me being a three-sport high school athlete who was a star. The popular kid. Everybody wanted to sit with me and my peers at lunch.
Oh, I don't know nothing about
that. What'd you say?
I know nothing about that. Like, I was probably one of them groupies wanting to get to the table. I don't know anything about being popular. I wanted to be. Oh my God, I wanted to be popular. So
which is cool. It's one of those. It exists. It's a real thing in high school.
Yeah.
And there's no need for us to act like it isn't.
Yeah.
And
not just high school.
One day I was walking through the lunchroom and I saw my friends and I saw this table and it had two students at it who were there by themselves every day. In particular, there's one kid that I knew, and I only knew him for like one seeing him around school and seeing him there at that table by himself. So something just led me to sit down, and I was like, "Hey, can I sit here?" And it took him about 5 seconds to answer because he was shocked that I was asking him this. So I sat down with him. I introduced myself. I don't know how I found. I think it was my junior year, so I was 16. I don't know how I found the humbleness at that age to say I'm Jock McKissic in a school where I felt like everybody knew me, but I did, thank God. And he told me his name, and I started asking him questions, and he started to answer, and he started off with like 2-word answers, like, "Yeah, I'm okay," and it turned into him telling me about his family trips to Australia in the summer and like just opening me up to this world that I had no idea about. I only seen on TV.
Wow.
Right.
And telling me about, his father who was in business and what he did. And he was so knowledgeable about things. And, he went on to be probably the third, he had probably had the third highest GPA in my graduating class. But
can't relate to that myself.
Yeah. Me either, brother. But just that conversation it sparked something in him, right? I would see him. I seen him that day later walking down the hallway, and he had like a spark in his step. And I felt like, okay, maybe that helped him. But the key of it is he had no idea how he helped me by exposing me to that information and also exposing me to the feeling that I had of sitting with the loner and sharing a moment. And, you know, by the end of that conversation, it was me and probably 4 of my friends at the table, like just listening to him.
Wow.
It was his hour. So I took that from that moment on, and I did it. I still do it today.
Wow.
And it's simple to do, right? But most people don't want to do it. They'll rather go sit by themselves, right? So if you just pay attention to people and you're in tune to their movements, their mood, like you can see those people who probably are eating lunch because they're just alone, or not just because they're there alone on their lunch break. Or it could be dinner or breakfast or whatever the case may be. And I walk up to them and I say, hey, you know, can I sit here? And, you know, the 40 or 50 times I've done it, I've never gotten a no. But I've also never left the conversation feeling more full than I was when I sat down. So yeah. That's
awesome.
I love that story. Because I've seen both sides of the story personally. I can't speak for you, dear. But a lot of my high school time was eating lunch by myself. Even though I was the quote unquote star athlete or whatever, I was still not totally accepted socially because I was awkward and goofy. Shocking. You know, I tell our kids all the time, dude, y'all wouldn't have been friends with me if I was in school with y'all. You know, it's just, for whatever reason, I just wasn't socially accepted like that. And so I've seen that side of it, but I've also been in similar positions to Jock where, you know, just sit down next to someone random in the airport or whatever. And you'd be surprised how it some people will just light up. You know, totally random. They
especially
just
him.
Up.
That's him. That's y'all. I think it's just men. I think it's just beautiful black men again. Because I'm serious. I'm not. I'm no.
You can do it.
Nope. Because I'm telling you, when I'm out with him, people are just drawn. Yeah, I don't care. They just talk to him. Even in the apartment complex, people talk to him.
Let me tell you why
I'm with him. If I'm with him, they'll talk to me. But if I'm by myself and I'm not seen, I promise you, I see it. I feel it.
Let me tell you why
I smile at people. I see this smile at other people. I smile at people and I get the... Why are you looking at me and smiling at me? I even bring to people's attention when are you having a bad day?
No, well, hold on,
you know, because sometimes I just
let me say this, dear. Let me say this.
It's not the same. I'm just saying.
No, let me say this.
That's not the
same.
Let
me say this. I will say that it took some years of building that energy around me, is what I'm assuming.
Oh, it's the energy.
It's because you know I'm not the most of a people person.
I was,
but people, for whatever reason, you're right. People do want to come up and just have random conversation at time.
Yeah.
You know? And I've learned to embrace that a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. But again, at the same time, I think about the fact that I've been building this energy.
It's the energy
around me for years. You know?
You've been doing the self-work.
Yeah. So, and I think that's just what comes through.
There is the difference to people being drawn to you, right? Because the people that are drawn to you, they have no issue speaking to people. It's not those people that we're targeting. We're targeting the people that nobody is talking to. Yeah. And they're not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
They don't give a damn about your energy or any of that.
Right. But for whatever reason, it breaks down. Yeah.
They're in their own world. And the thing is, you don't even have to lead with, are you, and the fact that you said you asked some people, are you having a bad day?
No, because of the way they treating me. That's when I do it.
Okay.
That's when I do it. When I come in and I'm smiling at you and you asking me, when I go to the dispensary and you behind the desk and it's like 500 other dispensaries, so I think you should be really nice. And you walk over to take my ID.
That is fair.
And you ain't even looking at me. You won't even look up at me. You asking me for my ID with your mouth turned up. And I say, oh, wow. Hi. I get nothing from this woman. Are you having a bad day? I said it in a nice way. Are you having a bad day?
Yeah.
Nothing. Well, not even acknowledging it. I turned my black ass and walked out of there because I could go to another one.
As you should.
But those are the types of things that happen to me. I don't even get. It's a whole different story for me.
No. Let me stop you. What we won't do, and this is something that you'll find in the book. We won't say those are the type of interactions that I get. Because when you speak, that's what you get. You're just letting the universe know that's what I want in the future.
Power of the tongue.
You have to say those are some of the interactions that I've had.
Those are the type of interactions that I have had.
There we go.
And that's fair. Like I've had those. We've all had those interactions. You may feel that you've had them more so than Ant, but. This is the thing, right? When you walk into those spaces, I'll tell you what I do. When I walk into those spaces, and if I'm in that situation, I'm like, hey. So I learned this in my sociology class. You don't leave room for, if you're trying to connect, you don't leave room for just open-endedness.
Exactly.
I don't just say, hey.
And that's all psychology, man.
Yeah.
Nothing open-ended.
So I say,
take the class.
Hey, how are you doing today? Hey, how are you doing today? That typically forces somebody to respond if they're having a great day or the worst day. Mm-hmm. But if they're having the worst day, I'm prepared to respond to that. Mm-hmm. So if I say, hey, how are you doing today? And they're like, not good. My dog, I got to put my dog down when I get off of work.
Yeah.
How am I going to respond to that? Right. So when I enter the world every day, I enter the world with the anticipation of adding into every space that I go into. Mm-hmm.
Adding.
Yeah.
In the world of takers, he's adding.
In the world where everybody wants to take, what the hell are you bringing to the table? Jock McKissic, what are you bringing to the table today? Right? Now, one affirmation that I do speak over myself before I leave the house is everybody and everything is working in my favor.
Word.
Then when I go into the world and I enter a space where a person may be having a bad day and, hey, how are you doing? Not good, man. My girlfriend broke up with me. Dang, man. I went through the same thing recently, man. I hate to hear that, dog. You're here at work, such and such. Whatever the case may be, whatever comes, I have to be willing to add into that. Mm-hmm. I'm not just asking an open-ended question just because it's the nice thing to do. Like, hey, how you doing? You need to be ready for whatever's on the other end of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a challenge.
And that's the most challenging part because as a human, you may not be having the best day. And, one of the things that I learned just by being a 6'7", 300-pound black man is
you forgot beautiful.
I don't necessarily have the luxury to have a bad day in public.
Right.
And that's something that people don't really think about until I break it down to them.
Damn right.
So I have years. I've been this size since I was 15, 16. I've had years of training of being conscious of my face, being conscious of my body, being conscious of my smiling, being conscious of the tone of my voice, because my voice is heavy. And if I'm having a bad day, I have to make sure that I'm putting forth the effort to not put that out into the world, right? And once I walk into spaces where people are having bad days, I just have to figure out a way to add into their space. And you're not always met with somebody who's receiving of that. That's life, I don't know what the hell that person is going through.
Yeah. They
could have just got into that dispensary and found out that they had stage 3 cancer.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to smile about, you know what I'm saying, at that point in their day. So I approach it and I give everybody grace as well as myself. Another principle from the book, Ant.
Yeah.
A ton of accountability and a dose of grace.
Dose of grace.
Yeah. You gotta always have grace.
We've spoken about giving ourselves grace quite regularly on this show, especially with us now being on the entertainment side of the work world. You get a lot of rejection.
Absolutely.
You get a lot of rejection, and sometimes that rejection can take a toll on you. But and then there's times where I had a scenario just this past weekend. I had an audition request, sent the thing in, and by the grace of God, Sunday, I got a text from the agent with a message from the client that said, he's doing it too much. Have him send it again. Where in most cases, they don't even give you that option.
No. Most cases, you just don't hear back.
You just don't hear back. So, number one, thank you, God, for that opportunity. And number two, it was a moment for me to show myself some grace to say, hey, slow down, dude. Just stick to it. You screwed up here. Don't do it again. Move forward. Don't just hang on it. God, I almost screwed this up. No, show yourself some grace, learn from it, move forward. You got any questions over there, or is Biscuit just feeling like talking to the mic? Because he all of a sudden Biscuit just jumps in her lap.
He knew I
was. Biscuit just said he got a question.
Biscuit, he's like, oh, I know what you're feeling right now. So let me come.
Gosh, man. One more thing before we get out of here. So you've been doing quite a bit, man. The Station 19. This latest, Your Honor, Queen of the South, the basketball movie the basketball series that I haven't watched yet. Is it Uncapped? Unclipped with the LA Clippers. You've been doing quite a bit, and I'm sure there's been a lot of various experiences, because you didn't just start out being someone in multiple scenes of a show. You had to start out on the background. You had to, hold on. You got a question there?
Well, I did. I've followed, just in the last few years when I met Jock through you, and I have a classmate also who also played football. That's right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all have worked together yet. I don't know. I feel like. Anyway, but I follow him. His name's Cranston Johnson. And he... Hold on. Time out. If you tell Cranston you know Phoebe Johnson, he will... What? Yeah.
Cranston is one of my best friends.
See? I think I told you. I was like... Wow, look at him. Now, I watched this dude, like, he went to school with playing football for college.
Yeah.
And he ends up being an actor. I remember when I saw it, and I was like, are you kidding me? First saw him on, I don't even know. He probably put some clips, but when I first saw him was in the dance, Pink.
P Valley.
P Valley. There you go. P
Valley. That's right.
Welcome to the pint. But P Valley was the first time that I actually saw him. I'm like, what is going on? This is what I want to do. I want to be an actor. How did he do this? How did he move so fast? Like, it just like took off so fast.
Yeah.
And so I think that it does move a little faster for some than
it appears to move faster.
It appears to move faster. Okay.
Yeah, because see, Cranston has been acting longer than me.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, he's been doing this a long time, but I remember when it started.
Yeah. It'll be 14 years for me in November.
It's longer than that for him.
Cranston has been doing it for 17 years.
Ooh-wee.
That's it.
Yeah. So P-Valley came along and probably, let's see, it was 3 years, like year 13 or 14 for him.
Mm-hmm. No, he had done some stuff before that. It was
he was a lead
thing.
on Happy Leonard.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the one. I was like, it's a country movie. I don't know what
Happy Leonard.
Yes.
Yeah. Where Michael K. Williams, rest in peace.
Yes, I have seen.
So
yeah,
Cranston is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I know. I'm saying like out of every actor in the world, Cranston Johnson from North Carolina.
We went to Ashbrook High School together.
Yeah, from Gaston, Gas House.
Gastonia.
Yep.
Gastonia, like he's one of my favorite actors. Like he is phenomenal.
Yeah. But I have watched his career since high school because we were, and
what's your maiden name?
Johnson.
Okay, I'm gonna tell him.
We had the same last name.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what was your question, Aunt, about everything that I've done?
Well, you were going through the whole process. You didn't just start out as someone right on the main screen, if you will. Yeah. Okay, you had to put in the work and doing some background stuff.
Theater.
And
did he do theater?
Did you?
Yes.
You did do theater?
Yes, I do theater. I didn't. I do it.
You do theater. Okay, so you currently do theater. Musical theater?
Once you do theater, you always do theater.
There's that. So I guess I know what you're gonna be doing going on for the rest of the career, dear.
I mean, that's all I've done is theater. I keep getting chosen for theater and it's musical theater.
Our most loved actors go back to theater.
They do.
Filming. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something you don't stop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well,
but you're correct, Aunt. When I started acting, 2011, bro, I knew nobody who was an actor. I knew nothing about it.
Yep.
I just had a dream. I packed my car, moved to Atlanta with $500 in my pocket, lived with a friend of mine, slept on his couch. I found out about this opportunity to be a featured extra on a TV show called Necessary Roughness.
I remember that show.
I remember that show too.
Yeah, so that's where I got my start. So
wow,
crazy!
And I went and did it one day, and they were like, "Yeah, we want you here." So I ended up doing like the whole 18 episodes.
Wow!
And then I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go get this football thing a shot one more time."
Yep.
I went to Saskatchewan CFL team when they released me. I said, I'm going back to the A. So I went back to Atlanta, started back doing Necessary Roughness amongst some other background opportunities just to kind of learn the industry at a bigger scale because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Right.
And my easiest way to get exposed to this industry at a high level was background. And in between takes, I was doing homework. I wasn't there. I didn't really even care about the extra work. I was there to focus on what the actors were doing, what the directors were doing, what the PAs were doing, what the grip was doing.
Yep.
What the gaffers were doing. Like I was learning the industry and I was getting paid to do that.
Yeah.
So I did extra work for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Simultaneously, I knew when I got into this industry at 6'7", the type of roles that I wanted to play, I hadn't seen that on screen from somebody that looked like me other than Michael Clark Duncan and
right.
I throw Forrest
Rest in
Whitaker in there
peace.
because he's kind of a bigger guy, not your stereotypical Hollywood actor. So outside of those two, I didn't really see anything I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing immediately. So I started writing web series and short films. And that's how I was able to solidify my agent. They started seeing my short films circulating throughout, the film market. So, I always did theater. I would do like 2 or 3 plays a year when I lived in Atlanta. And I also always did classes. I still take classes, almost 14 years later. And the ball really started rolling for me in 2015. And funny enough, the ball started rolling with me being on a show called Greenleaf, which Oprah Winfrey was the executive producer of.
I watched it.
Yeah, and my scene was with Oprah. And, I mentioned the story earlier about when I was 6, how that kind of gave me the bug of like, this is what I want to do. So actually getting a scene with her was kind of like the turning point in my career.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. That is beautiful.
And not just booking wise, but mental wise.
Yeah.
Like, once I got in front of Oprah and I got a chance to like tell her my story and to see her respond to that like I never thought she would and be receptive of that and like pour into me, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, for the past 7 years, it's been 8 years, I've been working a lot. Yeah.
Dude. And hearing that, first off, let me refer to our chat here. Queen Pruitt, you're getting a ton of support. Tanya says, Phoebe, just big bold letters, get out there. It's clear that you can do the work now in a big heart. So, positive mental attitude.
I am trying.
Lots of love here. Joe Esposito, Ozone Nightmare, says he's got to run, but he's thrilled to see a longer episode that he can continue to watch. Great guest. Please extend my appreciation to Jock for coming on. Have a great rest of your week.
I'm coming back. Don't worry. Joe.
He's so coming
back. What was his name?
Joe Esposito, Ozone Nightmare.
Joe, I'm coming back. So don't worry.
That was nice. That's so nice.
Listening to your experience with being in background, I had a somewhat similar experience with I can't remember the name of the show. I think it's called A Man Inside or Inside Man. It's one of those on Netflix. And I was background on that. And in my scene, Ted Danson was walking through. And I remember just seeing him there and just seeing the whole aura, if you will, around him as the feature actor and so forth, and how everybody took care of him. But then another thing I saw was how he acted towards everyone else, the way he acted towards the grips and gaffers and PAs. And, it was beautiful. And then we went to lunch, and that they tend to want to make sure the crew gets to eat first, right? So feed the crew first.
And separate everybody.
Yeah. And then we get to go in there. In the background, we get to go in there. So we sitting down having lunch, and as usual, I'm just sitting at the table by myself. Somebody sits down beside me. It's freaking Ted Danson. And just shooting the shit with him. And he's just and he said some very encouraging things and asked more questions about me and this and that. And I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I am supposed to be here. I didn't feel like I was dismissed. And so I kept going at it because, frankly, that's about all I had going at the time. And I told Queen Pruitt, you know what, we're going to keep trying this thing and keep working at it and just putting ourselves out there. You got to, man. Part of this.
I still remember when you guys were moving out here.
Yeah.
And you reached out and you were like, hey, I'm considering you know, the acting thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, you know, you were kind of like hesitant about it. I could tell the way you worded it.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, do it.
You know what I'm saying? You said that, but then you also told me, hey, study and do the damn work.
Yeah.
You told me that.
Yeah, I said, do it, but this is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
I want you to do it the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want you to study. I want you to research, and I want you to build a foundation that your house will be able to stand on later.
Right. Right.
You know.
And it is definitely a work in progress, man.
Yeah, it's an ever working, you know, process. But the beautiful thing about the entertainment industry is you never age out.
There's that.
Yeah, because I was just talking to my son about going to work at Chick-fil-A. He was like, "Mom, I think you too old." Real talk. They want young people. They do. A lot of places I'm just putting out there, like, places that I have been, and I look and see who's working in there, and I'm like, they're not. They just. Well,
places like that, they have a certain workforce because that's the workforce that's available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so if that's somewhere you want to work, first of all, Chick-fil-A is an amazing place to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to work at Chick-fil-A.
I have a friend of mine who I grew up with who is in corporate Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working with her for, I think, 13 years.
Man.
Yeah. I've heard it's really a really good fast food place.
Oh, man. It's a beautiful place to work for sure.
Yeah.
And, Chick-fil-A, Enterprise, Rent-A-Car, State Farm, those places they build leaders. Not every company builds leaders. But those companies, their structure is literally bringing you in to teach you how to be a manager.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you become a manager, they're teaching you how to be an operator.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's why those companies are what they are.
Yeah.
You know? Because they don't just hire people to just come do the job. They hire you to build you up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. Freaking machine.
It is literally
it's a machine.
Yeah.
I love that.
And other companies that are like, oh, we want to do the numbers that Enterprise is doing. We want to do the numbers that Chick-fil-A is doing. Well, you got to change your structure.
The culture.
Yeah, you got to change your culture. You got to change it from the ground up.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah. Same with this acting thing. You know,
yeah.
I meet young cats all the time. Like, I want to do what you're doing. I'm like, well, you got to do the work that I do.
Now, so you're meeting the young cats. Tell us a little about meeting some of the seasoned veterans that's been in there, because you've been on the set on these big shows, and the featured actors they've been in this game a lot longer than you have. Have you got many pearls of wisdom? I remember you used to talk about Mr. Bryan Cranston quite a bit.
Listen, Bryan Cranston, man, that is a beautiful human being, and I don't mean physically. I mean his soul.
Yeah,
like you were saying, Ted Danson, like that's the same thing. That's just how BC operates. Like,
this dude called him BC. He didn't call him out. He didn't call him Brian.
That's what he calls him.
That's what he calls himself. So that's what I call him. So yeah, he knew, and I took a page out of his book because, you know, in my past I wasn't too good with remembering names. So
same here, bro.
And you heard that, Phoebe? I didn't say I'm not good at. I said in my past.
Yeah.
So he knew. I remember going into set one day, and this was when we came back after the COVID break. When we walked in the building, we walked in the studio, he spoke to every single person, right? He spoke to the director, he spoke to two PAs that were walking out, and he spoke to the two cleaning ladies.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't just speak to them, he spoke to them by name. So I'm like, I was like, how the hell do he know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this dude is just different, you know? And what I've learned, and I put this in the book, which you read already, you've gotten past it, the chapter that's called Remain Curious.
Yep.
What I've learned is a lot of the people that are successful, whether they are entrepreneurs, whether they are, you know, Barack Obama, where he's like this, whether it's, you know, entertainers, a lot of those people remain curious. They don't close themselves off to the world. And they allow themselves to have genuine interactions with people that they come in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
And just have conversations and inquire about who you are and what you do and where you're from. And they do that because they know that thing keeps them grounded and it keeps them in tune with those around them. Mm-hmm. And when you are the leader on a set, unfortunately and fortunately, you control the mood of the set.
Right.
So if you have an a-hole that's the number one on a TV show or film,
yeah,
the whole set is going to suck.
Pretty chaotic.
It's going to be chaos. People are going to be arguing. Things are going to be breaking. Things are going to be following. It literally trickles down, and I've experienced both. But I've more so experienced where the number one is phenomenal. And I always make that known because there's such a stigma about celebrities being a-holes, and that's just not the case majority of the time. Mm-hmm. Like, most of these people are great people. The issue is when people meet these people out in public, they just tend to treat them like circus animals.
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the stuff that I see when celebrities are quote unquote getting upset on social media because somebody has recorded them in the distance is because people aren't respecting
not respecting them at all,
public privacy or anything. It just, dude.
And when I see it, I've actually witnessed it before. I witnessed this when I was doing security back in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I was working with T.I. at the time, and he was in a restaurant with his wife eating dinner. And this dude, two dudes walked up like, hey, bro, let me get a picture, man.
No.
And I'm like, hey, I say, hey, listen, he's eating right now. When he's done, I'm sure he won't mind, but just give him a minute. F that. You know what I'm saying? I've been supporting you your whole career. I got all your.
No.
So T.I. is like, hey, bro, chill. So I grab him and I pull him to the side. I'm like, listen, man, listen. I want you to look at it from this perspective. If you were out with your lady and some random person that you've never seen in your life walked up to you and start demanding things from you, what would you do? How would you respond?
Right.
Man, I see what you're saying, but he could have took the picture.
No, really? Come on. But he could have took
listen, bro.
You're missing the point, cuz.
You're missing the point. I said, listen, it's all about time and place. And most of the time, if you catch them out, they're just chilling by themselves or whatever, they'll do it. But in certain situations, you got to respect them because most people the Bryan Cranstons and the Oprah Winfrey, they don't get a chance to go out in public all the time.
Right.
So when they do muster up enough, gumption to go out in public and have dinner amongst 200 other people, they want peace.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brian is amazing, man. Lawrence Fishburne is another one who is he's one of my goats, bro. And I did a clip with him. He played Doc Rivers.
Yep.
And just the gems that he volunteered to myself and the rest of the cast on the basketball team, man, just on how to have longevity in this industry, just how to manage the set, things that he would tell us and things that we would just witness. How to be loving, but also stern. and stand up for yourself at the same time. Like just so many life lessons that I learned from just being around, Mr. Fishburne. So, bro, I think the biggest lesson of it all, man, is to just remain and for a lack of better words, I'm gonna say humble, but a lot of people take that word and they feel like you have to minimize yourself when you're being humble. And that's not necessarily the case. You don't minimize yourself. Being humble is just realizing who you are and just staying grounded and never feeling that you are above people. And me personally, because I started off in background, when I'm on sets, I interact with background more so than the cast sometimes because I know what that can do for them, because I knew what it did for me when I was an extra. And Greg Allen Williams came up to me and told me, hey, listen, if you need help, I'll help you. I'll help you with writing your script. But don't just allow yourself to not do something because you didn't go to school for it. And we had that conversation because he overheard me and one of my fellow background members talking about a script that we were working on.
Yeah.
And he just came and sat down beside us and had that conversation. And 2 days later, I was in his living room and he was coaching us through the script. So,
come on, man.
I've learned that, just remaining grounded and just literally making that choice every day to do something that you love. I mean, we all have to make ends meet because we got bills, but we can't allow the fact that we have to go and make ends meet to hinder us from doing that thing that we love. You got to find that time within that 8 hours to do that thing that you love, and no part is greater than the other. I find peace. I find as much peace as going to AMC and watching a movie as I do driving a set to work. I find peace in every element of the journey of what it takes to be a producer, actor, writer. So, yeah, man, I think you just got to remind yourself, and that old saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? We all look at, especially when you're looking at something like acting, because it's so broad.
Yeah.
And the magnitude of which you can become in this world, it seems so far away. So we look at that elephant and you're trying to swallow it whole.
Right.
You just gotta, one bite at a time.
Bite at a time, trust the process.
You just gotta trust the process. But most of all, you have to act on the process. Because if I'm just standing there looking at the elephant, that's not doing anybody any good.
Right.
So, I have to pick up the fork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. Baby, you got any questions before we get out of here?
I'm speechless for
what?
I know.
Hopefully,
mark this down. July 9th.
Seriously, I want to mark it down. I'm just listening, and it's like, when you go to church, and you get like the preacher's preaching, and you get a little hot. Because you're like, dang, has he been looking in my window? Yeah,
stepping on your toes start to hurt a little bit because you're stepping on them.
Hurt, starts to get hot because you're like, God, I think he knows everything. He's been looking in my window. That's how you know when God is speaking through somebody.
They say in Alabama, am I walking down your street?
Yeah. Seriously, it's. And I appreciate it. It's like you already know what to say. That everything that's been in my head.
Yeah, I live it.
And at the same time, it's like I know that some of the things, but sometimes you got to be reminded. I have to be reminded because it's like the things that you've said. somewhere along the way I've known those things, but they just get tossed away when the real
life happens.
Yeah, when life be lifing, and it just you forget about it, that you got to stop and take things just a bite at a time from everything in life. And that's why I say you walking down my street, because it's not just the acting part of it. It's a whole lot of things that I've got to slow down and take little chunks, little tiny chunks, little. I'm going to be babysitting. And I told her mom, I was like, I can't feed her tri-tip. She's not even a year old, because that's too much of a chunk for me, for her. Yeah. So what's different for me, taking little bites of all these other things. So I'm listening.
You've raised children, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I have never raised a child. I've observed, I have 6 godchildren, but I think the beauty in being a parent is if you simply break down what it entails to raise a child and apply that to your life when it comes to trying to achieve something, there's nothing you can't achieve as a parent, because there were so many steps along the way from day one with a newborn to a 19-year-old college student. Mm-hmm. You know, like that, you didn't get them there in one day.
True.
And they didn't learn how to crawl. They didn't learn how to hold their own bottle, and they didn't learn how to potty, and they didn't do all that in one day. It was a process. Mm-hmm. And as a parent, you have to be the most patient, because you literally are teaching this human who's trying to do this thing that to an adult is so simple, and they can't grasp it. And you have to repeat it over and over and over and over and
Your
over.
child.
The irony of that, right?
It's in so many areas. Yeah.
And as an adult, these things that we're applying are so simple. And our future selves will look back at ourselves and say, bro, why didn't you just...
Yeah.
It was so simple.
It was so simple.
You are raising yourself
as
an adult. So you have to literally remind yourself daily, I have to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And I have to take it one day at a time. You have to embrace the process, you know, and you got to learn to love the journey. You got to let her read that chapter in the book.
It sounds like I need to read the whole book.
Yes.
You need to read the whole book.
Enjoy the dadgum journey. Yes.
Yeah, you got to. Like the small things that are difficult, you even have to find something that you love in those things, right?
This dude, and he didn't been in my house.
Not just down the street.
He didn't been in my house.
Like,
seriously.
you know, when I was first starting out, and I was in Atlanta, and I was doing background work, and I was doing security, and I was driving limos, and I was doing marketing work at BP, all at the same time. I had to find something in the journey that I love. And my piece was going to acting class. Mm-hmm. For those 2 hours of the day, like I was in heaven. Mm-hmm. And I would work through those days, and then I had to find peace in those things. And my peace would be conversations with people out. My peace would be, oh, I got to go to this club. I'm only going to make $65, but I get some free hot wings.
There you go.
So it's like you got to find the small things in every part of the journey to keep you going, you know, and eventually the journey will start to mold, and, you know, and it'll change.
Yeah.
And, you know, my 2011 self is like in awe of the 2025 Jock McKissic.
Yeah.
The Jock McKissic that was on set begging for one word is looking at
God. Let me just get one line. Let me just get one line.
One line.
Or not being there, so you don't get the lines at all. That was you got to be there.
You got to be there. You got to be there.
I freaking love this, dude.
Well, I appreciate you being here and giving us this time and knowledge, and just thanks for me to focus on and look back at and really examine in my own life, which I've been doing it, but not in the right way. I say not in the right way because the way I've been doing it hadn't been working. So I gotta switch it up. You know
what they say, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results is insanity.
Exactly.
This is true. Exactly. Very true.
Jock, how do people figure out how to follow you and your journey and your process and progress online, my man?
Just tap in with me. J50 on every platform. JAYFIFTY.
Got it.
Ant will tell you, we've built this bond over the years. It all started on Twitter.
Yep.
And me being who I was and the things that I've been the things that have been poured into me to be who I am, I was always present and I was curious. And, I had those conversations over that platform and I was like, I don't know this dude, but he's kind of interesting. I like him. So I started following him. He started following me. We met in person a couple times, and I feel like he's a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? If he called me, I'm showing up. So
I'm so grateful. Likewise, brother. Likewise.
If you reach out, I'll respond. Yeah,
that's what's up.
So dadgum true. Man, thank you again for just number one, accepting the freaking message, and number two, saying, okay, I'm going to be here and I'm just going to drop some knowledge, man. I really do appreciate you sharing it with our community here at Everyday People, brother. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to her, but
Same.
The way this chat room has just been, I can't even keep up with it. It clearly means a lot to them too. So
it's been nice.
Jock, thank you so much, my man. We will definitely be in touch for another time on the mics. And
who knows? You might see my name on the call sheet.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, that's the goal. That's
that
the goal.
I
want to see your name on the call sheet.
Exactly.
For sure.
Work with everybody.
Sure. Yeah, man.
I support everybody black.
Yeah. To the chat, thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for tuning in and sticking out through this conversation. And what something I said, triggered you enough to stay in here and listen. So thank you. If you do want to get the book, you can order it. For those of you who, like going to websites, it's 50principlesbook.com, or you can just go straight to Amazon. Either type in Jock McKissic or 50 Principles to Thrive in Life, and it will come up. We have the Audible version. We have the paperback. We also have the Kindle. The Kindle is $4.99. And then if you have Spotify, the audio is on Spotify as well. So to me, it doesn't matter how you get it. I prefer paperback because I know there's energy in physical books.
Yes, I agree.
And I think once you touch those pages in that book, it's gonna be a different energy form, and you'll feel it. So, yeah, man, just tap in with the book. If you've liked anything that I've said today, you'll love the book 10 times more.
I co-sign.
Awesome.
10 times co-sign. All right, everybody. Thank y'all again for being here. You can find us on all the podcast platforms out there, as well as on YouTube. And as I mentioned previously, if you want to support the show, you can do so a couple of ways. The first way is just by coming into our Patreon community. Go to patreon.com/Ant Pruitt. Again, that's patreon.com/Ant Pruitt. You can even join it for free. You don't even have to come in there and pay anything. But if you feel inclined to contribute, we do have some options in there. And also, you can just share the show with other people. Tell other folks, hey, y'all go check out Everyday People with that beautiful bald black dude, Aunt Pruitt and Queen Pruitt. You know, just tell them. What was that? Why you? Yeah, check out the show and be sure to share it with any and everybody, even your favorite enemy on the list. We'll be back here next week. I'll figure out the time to broadcast because scheduling is getting a little wonky right now as far as her time being on the stage, as far as my time with some other stuff that I'm working on. But as usual, keep up in Patreon and you'll be right on top of it. Thank y'all again. Remember to do something good for yourself, do something good for someone else, and know that it is okay to love you some you. Y'all take it easy. Go ahead, dear.
I don't know if it was shared in the Patreon, but I was casted in Macbeth. Woo! Coming up in October.
Hey, congratulations.
Hey, thank you. And Hairspray. That is the big one. That's a big one. Wow. That is a really, really, really big one because I didn't know it was going to end this way because after we did our auditions, it's very heavy dancing. Very, very, very heavy dancing. And singing on stage. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm going to get this done and then that's where I'm headed. I'm going.
See. That's the thing.
I got to get this, but it'll be a huge accomplishment. This will be my second Shakespeare play. And I have, the first one was a huge accomplishment for me.
It was big.
Because I had to teach myself Shakespeare. So with that, I don't even know why I doubt myself with other things sometimes, but that's in the past. There's a new day ahead.
Moving forward, dear.
Thank you, Jock.
Moving forward.
Yeah, it's a new day. What are you doing in the morning? What are you doing?
I am going to, first of all, I'm going to go to bed tonight by 11.
Yep.
And then I will set my alarm for 7.
7:30.
I'm going to set it for 7, 7:15, 7:30. Okay. Then I will get up by the third one. And then I will wake up, say a prayer, open my eyes, sit back in the bed, push the play for the meditation, 5 minutes.
Yep.
Later, I will go in the bathroom. I will potty, wash my face, brush my teeth, do a set of squats and
stretch first.
Some stretch. I will stretch first and do a couple squats, some squats.
And crunches.
And crunches. Oh, I thought that was a or.
I said stretch for 2 minutes.
Just the crunches. Stretch for 2 minutes and crunches.
Crunches for a minute.
Okay.
And then squats for 2 minutes.
Okay. And then that's it.
Then the day is yours.
And then the day after that.
The day is yours.
Yes.
Easy as that.
Your future self will thank you for that.
I think so. I appreciate it. Yes, for sure.
Oh, man. All right, everybody. Thank y'all again so much for the continued support. We shall see y'all next week. Catch y'all later.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Cinderfractal. Thank you.
Say?
I love these people.
What's it?
Under the Sheets by 1055.
Oh, yeah, in the chat.
See, they keep...
Yeah,
that's right. Thank you, Cinderfractal. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's it. That's what I need to do. That, too. I need to set the alarm for that, too.
This is going to be so much fun.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jock. Seriously.
Real talk, man. Thank you.